Yes, students, I am your PKS sir. I wish you a fine day. I am a bit late to start the class. It was decided the other day that I would teach you lesson 11 from your textbook, A Shipwrecked Sailor, written by Daniel Defoe. Today I am starting the story. I have a few words to tell you about the writer Daniel Defoe. Daniel Defoe is a great name in the history of English literature, particularly the fiction or novel. Daniel Defoe was born in 1660 and he died in 1731. He was a versatile genius. He was a trader, writer, journalist, writer of pamphlet or pamphleteer, and spy. His most famous novel is Robinson Crusoe. Robinson Crusoe was published in 1719 and it is mentioned that, or it can be mentioned that it was the second in number to be translated in different languages of the world, only next to the Bible. He was a prolific and versatile writer. Prolific means abundantly read, abundant, and versatile means having genius in different subjects. Defoe is also known as a writer of pamphlets or pamphleteer, which I have already mentioned. He was also a journalist. Not only that, he also worked as a spy. Daniel Defoe's famous novel is Robinson Crusoe, which I have already mentioned to you. The present text is a section, or the present text has been coined from his most famous novel, Robinson Crusoe. Here we can find the storyteller or the author Daniel Defoe in a dangerous situation after being shipwrecked. He discovered himself in a desolate island, but he did not surrender to the dangerous situation. He had a force within him to inspire himself to make a hostile environment befitting for him. Here, the lesson is that if one has a strong will, if one has an iron determination, he is able to make the environment fitting or befitting for him through his hard work and determination. In this story, we shall get Daniel Defoe with a lot of inspiration to transfer his hostile environment to a fitting one. With his hard work and inspiration, not only that, here he used the possible equipment to or technology to make his hostile environment into a habitable environment. Now let us see what is there for us. On September 30, 1659, I, miserable Robinson Crusoe, being shipwrecked during a violent storm, came on shore on this dismal island. I call it the island of despair. I was almost dead, and the rest of my ship's company was drowned. I had neither food, house, nor clothes. I feared I would be devoured by wild beasts. When night came, I slept in a tree for fear of wild creatures. It rained all night. Let us explain the first paragraph. You have to keep in your memory the date on which Robinson Crusoe landed on the island. Here we get first person narration, that is, the writer himself is giving us here the information. I, miserable Robinson Crusoe, here it is an example of case in apposition. I means here Robinson Crusoe. He was in a wretched condition, WRETCICD, being shipwrecked or being distracted or devastated of a ship, that is, his ship perhaps met with an accident and thus it destroyed during a violent storm, and the reason behind the shipwreck was a vehement storm, VEHEMENT, or intensely forcible storm, came on shore on a dismal island. Then he reached on a shore or a coast, COAST, of a desolate island. Desolate means having no men inhabited there. I call it the island of despair. The narrator Robinson Daniel Defoe, or here in the form of Robinson Crusoe. He himself is the hero of the novel. Termed the island as the island of despair. Despair means hopelessness or frustration. I was almost dead and the rest of my ship's company was drowned. He was in a death-like situation, or he was a little better than a dead, and the remaining of his company in the ship was drowned, was sunk, was immersed. I had neither food, house, nor clothes. You know that these are the basic needs for living. But here the hero Robinson Crusoe had neither food, house, nor clothes with him. I feared, he was afraid that he would be, I would be devoured by wild beasts. He would be eaten up by the wild creatures of the island. When night fell there, I slept in a tree for fear of wild creatures. It was evident to him that he might be eaten up by the wild creatures. That was why, in order to save himself, he slept, or he had a sleep in a tree. It rained all night, but there he experienced a continuous rain through the night. Now the second paragraph. The rain continued through the next day with gusts of wind. Only a wreck of my ship was to be seen at low water. I swam to the wreck to rescue and secure for my survival some food and other provisions. I was able to collect some wood, cable string, a knife, nails, and a gun. I also collected a hammock and some canvas with which I made a tent. I get some ink and paper. I also found some money, but they were useless to me in this barren island. I was some 100 leagues out of the ordinary course of the trade of mankind. I was convinced I had to spend the rest of my life alone in the wild, desolate island. Okay. In the former paragraph, it has been mentioned that there was a continuous rain throughout the night. And here we have the repetition of it, that the rain kept on through the next day. It was accompanied with sudden blast of wind. Only a wreck of my ship was to be seen at a low water. From the island, the narrator could see only a ruin, RUIN, of his ship in the shallow water, SHALLOW. I swam to the wreck to rescue and secure for my survival some food and other provisions. Then the narrator, Robinson Crusoe here, made a swim or swam to the ruin of the ship. He tried to save and make it safe. Here his purpose is survival or outliving some food and other provisions. Provisions means the supporting things which are necessary along with the food. It may be food or another thing which are necessary for living. I was able to collect some food, cable, string, a knife, nails, and a gun. These are the things which the narrator could rescue. And you may get a question from this very line. Robinson Crusoe was able to collect or gather some food, cable, that is wire, string, thread, and knife, nails, that is iron pin, and a gun. Not only that, I also collected a hammock and some canvas with which I made a tent. He was able to gather a hammock. Hammock means a portable bed which is mainly made of using string, and some canvas. Canvas means the coarse or the horse cloth used for sails in the ship or boat. These things were necessary for him because he was able to make a tent or portable shelter for living. I got some ink and paper. He also managed to collect some ink and paper. I also found some money, but they were useless to me in this barren island. He had collected some money, but they were useless. They were without any use because this was an infertile or desolate land. Barren means having no yielding power, YIELD. It may be termed as infertile. I was some 100 leagues out of the ordinary course of the trade of mankind. League, L-E-A-G-U-E, is a measure of distance. Um, it is almost 3.5 miles equal. It is equal to 3.5 miles. Out of the ordinary course of the trade of mankind, he was away 100 leagues away, that is nearly 350 miles away from the ordinary way or path of human trade, human business. I was convinced I had to spend the rest of my life alone in this wild, desolate island. Considering all the features there, he was persuaded or he was produced a firm belief by evidence, argument, etc., that he had to stay the remaining part of his life lonely in this wild, desolate island. Now we are in the third paragraph. I searched long for a place of safe habitation. I found a little plain on the side of a rising hill. On the rocky wall of the hill there was a hollow place worn in like the entrance to a cave. On the flat of the green just before this hollow I resolved to pitch my tent. When he was convinced that he would have to stay the rest of his life there in the desolate island, he decided to make his temporary habitation or residence there in the island. He searched for a long time for a place which would be safe or which would be a safe habitation for him. Then, or after a much searching, he discovered a little plain on a side of a rising hill, uprising hill. On the rocky wall or on the stony wall, rocky means made of rock or stone wall of the hill, there was a hollow place or nin, there was a vacant place which was somewhat exhausted for use. Perhaps it seemed to Robinson Crusoe like the entrance of a cave. It had the similarity of the entrance to a cave. Cave means the hollow in a rock or hill. On the flat of the green just before this hollow, I resolved to pitch my tent. Then the narrator Robinson Crusoe made a resolution that on the flat of the green place, just before the vacant place, he would set up his tent. I cut the wood I collected into stakes. I drove them into the ground in a semicircle around my tent. The stakes stood 6 inches apart from each other. I put the cables I had rescued from the ship around the stakes in the manner of a fence. I used a short ladder to go over the fence. Once in, I withdrew the ladder after me so that I was completely fortified against the world outside. Into this tent brought all my stores and provisions. Now we are in the fourth paragraph. We have already learnt that the narrator Robinson Crusoe had managed to rescue some wood from the wreck of his ship in the shallow water. Then, while setting up or building his tent, he used this wood as the stakes, as the pillars. He cut the wood which he had collected from the ruin and made the pillars of it. I drove them into the ground in a semicircle around my tent. Then he dug the ground in order to put the stakes there in the ground around his tent in a semicircle way, in a semicircle manner. The stakes stood 6 inches apart from each other. He kept or he left a distance of 6 inches from one stake to another. That is, the gap between two stakes was of 6 inches. I put the cables I had rescued from the ship around the stakes in the manner of a fence. We also learned that he managed to collect some cables, some wires from the wreck of his ship. Then he used these cables around the stakes which he drove into the ground in a manner of a fence or a barrier. That is, his tent was strongly supported with the wooden stakes and cables. I used a short ladder to go over the fence. Then it was required, or the narrator required, a ladder or a harrow in order to go over the fence. Once in, I withdrew the ladder after me so that I was completely fortified against the world outside. When he was in once, he dropped the ladder after him so that he could make himself totally secured against the world outside him. That is, he was totally separated, not only separated, but he was also totally secured from the outside world. So there was safety in his residence in the tent. Into this tent I brought all my stores and provisions. The narrator Robinson Crusoe was able to collect some food and provisions with him from the ruin of the ship. Then he stored, or he transported, the food and provisions, or stores and provisions, into this secured tent. Okay, now we are in the fifth paragraph. After I had been on the island for 10 or 12 days, it occurred to me that I would lose the measure of time. This was because I had neither watch nor calendar. To prevent this, I cut with my knife upon a large post the date of my landing. I put a notch with my knife for every day. After making the tent or setting up a safe dwelling place or living place, the first problem which appeared to the narrator Robinson Crusoe was the fear that he might forget the measure of time. He had already spent on the island 10 or 12 days. It was his apprehension only, and here the reason is that he had neither watch nor calendar. In order to save himself from this fear or to be out of that fear, he invented a way to keep the measure of time with the help of his knife. After I had been on the island for 10 or 12 days, that means he had already spent 10 to 12 days on that desolate island. It occurred to me, it happened to the narrator Robinson Crusoe that I would lose the measure of time. He was frightened or he was apprehended that he might have a loss of measure of time. This was because I had neither watch nor calendar. The fact is not like that. It was, or the narrator's apprehension was pointless. He had neither watch nor calendar with him, so it was difficult for him to keep the measure or maintain the account of time. To prevent this, in order to protect this, here this refers to the apprehension to lose the measure of time. I cut with a knife upon a large post the date of my landing. He recorded or he engraved the date of his landing on that island with a knife upon a large post. After that, I put a notch with my knife for every day. He made a mark with a knife every day. That means it counted the number of days of his stay there. Students, I think you have already completed listening to the explanation given by me. We shall not proceed after it in the story. Now, I wish to have an interaction period with you. Now, you may ask anything from the text which I have already taught you regarding your problem, if there is any. Now I am waiting for your question. Please ask me if you have a question, but do it one by one, not haphazardly.